Time again to be joined by the editor-in-chief of the Suburban, Beryl Wajsman. Oh, Beryl.
Oh, David.
Welcome back. And today I thought you were hitting on a very important subject. I talked about it last week with Beaconsfield Mayor Georges Bourelle, who is actually taking the city of Montreal to court because of this. The disproportionate share of demerged cities that they pay to the city of Montreal.
Let's give your listeners a headline. Okay? 12% of Montreal Island's population pays 38% of the total increase in aglo expenses.
Now, how did that work?
The formula established by the original Bill 9 for the demergers put all the demerged cities at a distinct disadvantage. It's only been getting worse. So if you're living, and we've been covering the story all December, and I'm very proud of the fact that the paper is all over the island, the South Shore of Laval, but these demerged municipalities, we were champions of them, and we get calls about this. And I was telling Emily earlier, we've got people in these municipalities who generally Montrealers tend to think they're all rich. We've got seniors who are choosing between how much they're going to eat and paying their tax bills. Because while people in Ville-Marie-Bourelle, Mayor Plante's borough, got a tax increase of about 2% from her budget, they offloaded expenses onto the demerged municipalities, where some, like Beaconsfield, and more power to George for what he's doing, are looking at 7 and 8%. And that's after last year's increases, which were a record, and after the year before. Now, what's interesting about this is that last year, this same 12%, when they introduced the 2023 budget, paid 29%. So in 1 year, there's been a jump from 29 to 38%. While the total fiscal, what's called, the province has a name for the economic engine, the economic ability of municipalities to pay. They call it fiscal capacity. Quebec has determined that the 15 demerged municipalities that are 12% of the island's population paying 38% of the agro expenses increase represent only 18% of the fiscal capacity of Montreal. So, and I want your listeners to understand, this is not, unless they think that, because we're seeing union striking and agreements being signed and everybody asking for more money. It's not just that.
So, Beryl,
we're supporting.
I get it.
One more thing.
Yeah. Sorry.
We're supporting a municipal Ville de Montréal administration, and very roughly, Ville de Montréal is about 1.7 million people. Ile de Montréal is about 2.8 million. We're supporting a municipal administration in the Ville de Montréal that, for example, spent $250 million to pay off a couple of private developers to make a nature park in Pierrefonds that hasn't been built, that nobody needs, where they were going to construct affordable housing for young families. End of rant.
Okay, end of rant. Do you know who wants to respond to your rant? He's in studio. He can't wait for the next segment. Denis Coderre wants to respond. So, Denis,
Sure.
What do you have to say?
Well, first of all, when you have the right people at the right place, you make deals. So Peter Trent used to tell me that with Gérald Tremblay, they met 76 times and nothing happened. I had a scotch with him and we settled everything.
I was going to mention that under you, we were moving toward a solution.
So why isn't there a solution?
Well, because we need oysters.
Flaunt promised to continue the road that Denis started, and she didn't.
But what is it about this agreement that can lead to such a disparity?
There's no leadership, but
there's
what
no
you need to do now
here.
is Aglo represent only the city of Montreal. In the Aglo represent 87% of the vote. But the boroughs pay, not the boroughs, but the cities on the island pay 60% of the taxes. So I would agree with Mitch Garber. I would say that next election, make sure then that for the mayorship, everybody can vote.
Well, that won't happen.
How do we do that?
How do we get that? You would need a law in Quebec City for that.
If you cannot do it now, That's a good question to ask the people.
Well, to ask the
That's
premier?
an issue.
To ask
Provincially and municipally.
Because that is something that we would need to get Pierre Fitzgibbon on board with. He's the minister responsible for the city of Montreal. We would need André Laforêt.
Nobody asked a question.
Who's the minister of municipal affairs.
But Denis right about that. They would have to amend Bill 9, which is now Law 9.
No, but that's it. That's what I'm saying. So you, at the very least, you need Pierre Fitzgibbon on board.
Metropolis. We had deals.
And just to take your listeners back to the demerger law, which said one of the most egregious part of that law was that it said, okay, you can demerge, but you need 50.1% of your people to agree, but you need to reach 35% turnout.
You need two-thirds to support that, and that's why Anjou and Outremont lost it. And
Pierrefonds and Saint Laurent.
But the problem is not merging or demerging. It's about what is the real leadership at the administration. Because when I was there, I had every month a meeting with all the mayors and we settled things. We settled the issue of water and downtown, the definition of downtown. Now, what we need is to make things happen because no matter what, you need the police, you need firemen, you need their services that should be on the island anyway.
Sure.
So let's just make it work.
Now, David and Denis, we're all friends, full disclosure, but I want to tell you, David, and I want to tell your listeners.
It's more than acquaintance.
You may agree, you may not agree with everything that Denis Coderre did as mayor. I happen to think it was a good mayoralty, but if you
Would
remember...
you repeat that, please? That's good.
I believe it was a good mayoralty, but to Denis' point of you got to talk, when Denis was mayor, you may remember that he wanted a devolution of powers to Montreal, and he was playing with a certain number of ideas.
I got it, yeah.
He got it. We gave it to him. I was part of that government.
Yeah. A group that I was involved in.
I was in the room.
And nobody applied it. Oh.
A group that I was involved in called Critique, that the businessman named Gary Shapiro was running, hired a man named Michel David, a great urbanist, to make a series of proposals, and we took it to Denis. We had a meeting with I think, Robert Libman, Denis, if I'm not mistaken.
Libman was there, yes.
And Denis went and had a conversation with Quebec, and he got some of the stuff out of those recommendations. And there's no desire on the part of this administration.
Well, it's worse than that. They just don't understand.
For Mayor Plante, the smaller the voting base, the more chance she has to win. She is not the mayor of all people.
Okay, so here's the controversial proposal that I have. And I know I'll get crucified by a lot of people. I asked Peter Trent this. He said it was wrong for me to even talk about this.
By the way,
but why aren't we talking about imagine if all the demerged were part of Montreal, Valérie Plante would never have been elected.
No,
absolutely
because
never.
So why not remerge? Why not merge?
Why
not merge and make a new city with the demerged and the merged?
The best example is Toronto with Vaughan and all Mississauga and all that. Mississauga is apart, but Vaughan, like Mauricio Belavacqua used to be mayor. He was my colleague in caucus federally. But the issue is, okay, if you pay money, you have the right to vote.
Taxation with representation. What do you think, Beryl? Should we remerge?
Denis will certainly remember this. You may. When there was the demerged, when Bill 9 was introduced, as much as I didn't like Louise Baudouin's forced merger.
Louise Harel,
forced merger, the idea of une ville was not an illogical idea. But when Bill 9 came out, I and Robert Libman and others made speeches in those communities that were demerging, warning them, to use Denis' phrase, at least you're at the table. Your money counts. Yeah. You demerge under Bill 9. You're going to be funding City of Montreal services because Bill 9 gave the Ville de Montréal basically a veto power over any suggestions from the demerged cities. And so the argument we're trying to make is at least you're there, your bucks count.
David Heurtel in for Aaron and Natasha. So I asked Beryl Wajsman of the Suburban to stay on, and because I took time away from him because Denis Coderre was just stomping on across from me in the
Beryl,
CJ
you hold me a scotch.
Okay, so Denis Coderre, former Montreal mayor, is in studio with me. Denis, thank you so much for coming back after our great conversation last week.
I always said
Beryl,
you have a face for radio. You're good.
I have the ultimate face for radio. Beryl Wajsman, are you there, sir? Beryl? Oh, Beryl.
I am here. I am here.
Are you there? You are there. Okay. Thank you for hanging on. Let's continue this conversation. So, because I have a texter who is listening to this, he or she writes, but look at Pierrefonds. We're at the table and also got hit with the highest tax increase.
But Pierrefonds is a bad example because Jim Bass is doing a tremendous job.
He is doing it.
Secondly,
but he's in the opposition.
No, hold on. First of all, they had their pool. They had their sports field. Mm-hmm. And when we were there, it was part of the sports on the executive, and we gave the right chair to Pierrefonds. What we need now is to make sure, because nothing happened, we need to bring back leadership. And the issue is not the borough. The issue is the central.
Okay, Beryl, what say you?
You got it.
Are you there?
Denny is being polite. I'm not going to be so polite.
Well, I promise I won't swear.
He's not
time.
swearing. Please don't tempt him.
Emily,
Beryl, stop tempting Denis.
I promised your producer I wouldn't swear. I'm keeping my word.
Nobody's allowed to swear.
Well, okay.
No bull.
Well, you do have a 7-second delay.
Beryl,
let's
don't start.
Call a spade here.
Don't make me regret keeping you on.
Pierrefonds may be at the table, and it may be part of the Ville de Montreal. But let's face it, Jim Bass is not only a great mayor out there, but he happens to be a member of the party Denis founded. If anybody thinks that there is absolute bon foi here and no political considerations, they don't understand the nature of this municipal administration.
But the issue is not the structure, it's a matter of people. If you have the right people at the right place, everything will work.
So you're telling me if we keep the current structure, if Montreal as is, and the demerged cities demerged, there could be a deal where Montreal could be financially viable, and for the demerged cities... No, let me finish. For the demerged cities to pay less and keep Montreal financially afloat?
The last thing that I signed with demerged cities was a financial deal about the percentage that they have to pay in the next two budget. And it was less than 1%.
Beryl.
You asked a question that I think Denis has always explained very clearly when you, this was before the break, when you said exactly what is in this quote-pot agreement that doesn't work and that was being worked on to make better. And I think Denis can explain it very clearly.
Well, I think we know that the agreement is one thing, and then the question is, and Denis' point is well taken, the mayor of Montreal should sit down with the demerged and make a deal to make that original agreement be able to evolve.
And they're not doing it.
And it's not being done. So we know.
We need a new mayor for the next election.
But then that takes me to the next question, and something I wanted to ask you.
Quebec Solidaire had their chance. That's it.
Well, I get it, but here's the thing. And Beryl, you can chime in as well. Denis, what's going on with Ensemble Montréal? We're not seeing them. I mean, I have a lot of listeners that have texted me over the holidays, that have called in over the holidays. Where is Ensemble Montréal?
It's a matter of human nature. You're going to have Benoit Langevin. He's one of the best guys.
He's a great city councilor.
He's amazing. He's on the field.
But he's not going to be a candidate for mayor.
No, but the issue is it's not about the structure. It's about the people. What you need to do in 2024 is to define the administration. When you have TV show who's saying that, well, because the mayor had a rough time, we didn't talk about her this year, I have a problem with that.
Beryl.
Look, I still want to answer David's question, Denis. And here's the answer to your question.
I'm not running.
Technically, how do we fix this? Part of it, as Denis says, you need people of goodwill to sit down and you can hammer out an agreement. And that's been proven in the past. It was proven under Denis' administration with multiple levels of government, municipal and Quebec. But how about this is a simple thought, a simple solution to start getting this bloody quote part down. Anything the city of Montreal, the Ville de Montréal, wants to do that has nothing to do with the services of demerged cities, where the demerged cities don't benefit. 65% of services benefit the Ville de Montréal. So, as an example, if you have a mayor that wants to build the biggest park in Canada, in Pierrefonds, that does not serve anything or anybody in the demerged cities that are paying so much, that's got to be out of the Ville de Montréal's pocket. It can't be put into the whole thing.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Again, both of you, I get what you're saying. But here's my brain going to solution mode. The fact is that this is a provincial law. And as Denis correctly said earlier, 87% of the votes in the agglomeration is on the side of the city. So how do you change this?
Well, first of all, it's easy. And the best example, I spoke about three things the last election. I spoke about density, I spoke about security, and I spoke about cleanness. The problem that we have now is that nobody wants to take a stand, and it's always somebody else's fault.
So where is Ensemble Montréal?
Well, Ensemble Montréal are taking notes right now. What I'm saying is this. I tell you the best example last week, and when I spoke about OCPM, I believe in public consultation, but I believe in decision. So instead of talking about oyster, if you're against them, don't try to look like the others. Be yourself.
Beryl?
Last thoughts from me. We talked earlier about how you had mentioned the possibility of remerger or changing Bill 9.
I'm trying to find a solution. Okay. Remerger could be an avenue, or get Quebec City involved.
It will never happen.
So, right. Okay, so remerger...
or changing Bill 9.
But you need Quebec City for that.
Yes, you do. But there's difficult amendments, and there's easy amendments. So if there was an amendment to Bill 9 saying that there is no reasonable, let's use a constitutional legal term, reasonable, that there is no reasonable benefit of any action of the City of Montreal to the demerged municipalities, they have to bear the cost of their own.
Okay, Beryl, for that you need to sit down with Pierre Fitzgibbon and get him. No, hold on, Denis.
No,
but hold on. I'm still the host.
Let's talk about reality.
Yeah, let's talk about reality. And so that's what I'm saying. Yep. If you're going to get an amendment to Bill 9, you need Pierre Fitzgibbon.
But you don't need an amendment.
So let me
that's Beryl's point.
And this has been reported. So it's not heartbreaking news, but there is still an official opposition. It's small in Quebec City. But you know what? In the committee work,
really,
matters like Bill 23, they made changes and they got changes, even from Bernard Dranville. It is perhaps something that the Liberal Party of Quebec should take on. Their base is here in Montreal. They should talk to Fitzgibbon and start the conversation. And they should go into the media. And frankly, you and I have talked about this before, Francophone media should start to pay attention because Francophone media is still at Montreal-based. They're getting hit with the same garbage tax increase as everybody else. There is an opposition. The ministers sometimes listen.
Hold on.
And maybe that's
okay, gentlemen. I have George Bourelle, the mayor of Beaconsfield, on the line.
The mayor, Mr. Environment.
So, Mayor Bourelle, are you there?
Hello, George.
Yes, I am there. Hi, Denis.
So you want to weigh in?
Yeah, you want to say that we had a tremendous time together.
All right. Thank you, Denis. Of course, it's always about you. But George, why don't you come in? I have just about a minute and a half, so tell me what you think about all this.
Well, I think that Beryl and Denis are quite right, but I want to specify that our lawsuit against Montreal and the province of Quebec is on a very specific point, and it is the fact that the City of Montreal no longer applies the 2008 agreement, which was signed by all municipalities, including the government, that established neutrality for evaluation roles. That has not been applied for the last two evaluation roles, and that's the basis of our lawsuit. And I would have liked to hear Denis' opinion on this 2008 agreement.
Okay, so Mayor Bourelle, thank you so much for calling in. I have to stop now, so I will say thank you first to Beryl Wajsman of the Suburban for staying on a second segment. Appreciate it, pal.
Hey, Denis, bonne année.
Bonne année. And Mayor Bourelle, thank you for coming on.